What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I have been tasked with a not really difficult task, but it's a tag video my buddy Nathan over at Paragon Fragrances came up with and decided to tag me in. And the thing that makes it challenging is to just pick one for each of these subcategories. So the premise of it is, if a stranger came up to you on the street and asked you what's the #1 fragrance you would recommend I check out, what's your answer for one cheapy, one designer, and one niche? So for cheapy, for me, it's $50 or less USD. Designer, it's, because a cheapy can be a designer for sure. So anything, designer above 50 bucks basically. And then a niche fragrance, higher end luxury. It was hard to narrow down because there's a lot of fragrances that I would want to recommend in this situation. But you know me, I'm blue fragrance guy, and I came up with a cheap blue, a designer blue, and a niche blue. So let's get into it. Stay tuned. Let's go chronologically according to what they cost. So around 30 to 40 bucks, you can get this fragrance. And I admittedly have not worn it in a little while myself. But the quality here speaks to, the brand's choices and raw materials. But for 30 to 40 bucks, it doesn't smell that cheap. It's Rochas L'homme. Beautiful aromatics, a little bit of bright and sweet geranium. You got some juniper, some greens, some woods. This is a fantastic everyday wear. Has a professionalism, a class to it, without being a serious fragrance. You can totally rock this one casually, dressed as I am right now, flat bill and a hoodie t-shirt, a performance hoodie t-shirt. This is some good stuff. Performances average to above average, kind of falls in that 6 to 8 hour range. For me, longevity is really good, but projection is nothing crazy. Kind of average, arm's reach type of stuff, hour, hour and a half. Even going into the 2 hour mark, but very good fragrance. Doesn't get the love it once did, but I guess look at it this way as me rekindling its fire, because this is a damn good fragrance. This is definitely one, if I'm just going to pick one cheap fragrance to recommend to somebody to check out that I think is a very safe play that they can get a lot of joy out of, it's going to be Rochas L'homme. Now, as far as that designer tier, so this isn't crazy expensive, but around 80 bucks you can expect to pay. 70 to 80 bucks for a 60 ml. And you don't need a lot of sprays. It lasts a long time. It's got a lot of elements working in its favor for heavy versatility. It is from Yves Saint Laurent. This is Y Le Parfum. This is my absolute favorite version of Y. I'm a big fan of this particular line. That is no secret. I don't know why I can't get it to focus. The downside to having a very busy background. This is a beautiful fragrance. So it maintains the aldehydes from the eau de toilette. It still has that fizzy brightness. You get a little bit of that fruitiness from the apple, but more of a grapefruit. It's got this fizzy grapefruit smell, fresh and spicy, a little bit of ginger. Still has a nice clean musky tone with some woods in the dry down. And like I said, it lasts pretty long. It still has some brightness, but it's not crazy loud. Projection falls in that hour to 2 hour range, but every bit of an 8 to 10 hour fragrance in longevity. It smells so good, at least to me. And for me, it's around 8 to 10 hours in longevity. It falls into that very good territory. This is a great everyday wear. You can wear this one summer, winter, spring, fall. Doesn't matter. Dressed up, dressed down. This will work. Not the best choice for dressier occasions, but it'll work. In a pinch, you can totally pull this off with any attire that you so choose. And so this is kind of another one that's kind of a safe recommendation for me that I think so many people could get so much joy and wear out of. Again, that is from Yves Saint Laurent. This is Y Le Parfum. And the last one we have here is going to be the niche category. So Nathan mentioned Cedrat Boisé, and that's an easy answer for me. That's usually what I go with here. I'm sure a lot of you, because I won't have this in the thumbnail, a lot of you probably expect me to pick that, but I wanted to pick something different from Nathan. And Cedrat Boisé is the ultimate answer, by the way. He took that away from me. Kudos. Good job. But for me, there's a bunch of other options here. I thought of fragrances like messing with you guys and saying Aventus. I'm just kidding and pulling it down. Aventus Cologne would be a good option here, though. There's a lot of really good choices, but I think since we're sticking to the blue theme, the next step up in blue for me is Montabaco Verano from Ormonde Jayne. This is a beautiful blue. Again, we go back to that bright grapefruit. This doesn't have aldehydes. This has a nice, slightly earthy tobacco that does come across a little smoky on my skin. You have some sensual, soft woods, a lot of isoe super. So very much in the blue category, not just in the bottle color, but in the scent profile. It's kind of a tobacco-based blue fragrance with soft yet warm woods. It's got its share of freshness and citruses, and there's other things going on, a little bit of musk. But that's the most dominating notes and accords that I get from it with phenomenal performance. This one's at minimum pretty much 10 hours. I would call this the 10 to 12 hour range in longevity. This is a louder fragrance. You don't need a lot of sprays with this one. That isoe super really helps this stuff push and pump off of the skin, at least for me. It's very, very pronounced. I wouldn't call it a beast, but it's up there. You don't need to spray a lot of this. 50 ml goes a very, very long way. This is a 3 to 5 spray fragrance, and people are going to smell you. It won't overwhelm them, but they'll smell you, at least in my experience. And this steps the game up a bit. It really does. And they're not crazy expensive. A little over $100. You do step your quality up here while still having some, synthetics, some higher quality synthetics, but synthetics nonetheless because of isoe super, with a few naturals thrown in there. The blend's done really well. The performance is really good. The versatility is really high, while having the deepest character of scent profiles of all three of these recommendations. So I feel like we kind of tiered it in depth to fragrance, performance to fragrance, as well as price point. So I feel like it was a great, well-rounded option from start to finish, from cheap to designer to now Montabaco Verano from Ormonde Jayne being my niche pick. Well, that was my 3. Challenging but not challenging. Kind of a double-edged sword here because I knew I wanted to go blue. I'm a blue fragrance guy. No surprise here that I decided to go with a multitude of blue fragrances at every price point. But there's so many great options out there that it could have been 3 totally different fragrances. I could have picked 3 of each, 5 of each, honestly, and did 15. I think would have been fun to do. Now, when it comes to tag videos, I don't typically put the pressure on people. I usually leave it as an open tag, which I want to do here and now. So anybody that happens to see this that creates fragrance content on the internet, whether it's TikTok, you do it on Facebook, you Instagram, or you're here on YouTube, whatever the case, if you are interested in doing this tag your it, by all means, go for it. Tag me and let me know, at me, as they say these days, and so I can know you did the video, and I'll check your video out, and maybe share it, and so on, and be a whole communal kind of thing, you know what I mean? So this was an interesting one, a fun one. Like I said, challenging, but really not challenging at the same time, because I wasn't able to pick a bunch of cool stuff that could have went in this video. So I kind of wish it was more choices than just one each. But here we are. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback. And I love hearing from you guys. What would you pick? I'm sure there's going to be some blue fragrances thrown around in there, but there's going to be some of you that are going to say, I'm not going to pick a blue fragrance. Here's my 3 I would go with. And I want to see those comments too. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of my 3 recommendations and you give them a spray now, there's a real good chance you might thank me later. Have a good one, guys.